Once upon a time, in a quiet African village surrounded by lush green fields and rolling hills, there lived a young woman named Adana. She was as radiant as the morning sun, with a beauty that turned heads and a kindness that touched hearts. Adana's life, though modest, was filled with joy. She lived with her mother, a hard-working widow, who traded in the village market to make ends meet. Adana often helped her mother with the trade, weaving baskets or selling vegetables. Together, they shared laughter and dreams of a better tomorrow. Despite their humble circumstances, Adana's charm and grace were unmatched. Men came from far and wide to admire her, but her heart remained untouched, until she met Obina. Obina was the son of a wealthy merchant family. His father was a prominent trader, and his mother, Mama Obina, was a woman of strong will and rigid traditions. Obina was tall, handsome, and charismatic. Though he could have had any woman in the village, it was Adana's simplicity and quiet strength that captivated him. He often stopped by her stall in the market, pretending to need a basket or fresh produce, just to hear her laugh or catch her smile. Their connection grew slowly, blossoming under the shade of mango trees where they met in secret. They shared stories about their lives, their dreams, and their hopes for the future. Adana's mother, seeing the light in her daughter's eyes, supported the relationship despite knowing the challenges they would face. When Mama Obina discovered her son's relationship with Adana, she was furious. She believed her family's status demanded that Obina marry a woman from wealth and prestige, not the daughter of a poor widow. She confronted Obina, warning him to end the relationship. "You are the only heir to this family," she scolded. "You have responsibilities. That girl will bring nothing but shame to us." But Obina, emboldened by his love for Adana, refused to end things. "I love her, Mama," he said firmly. "Adana is the woman I want to marry." Mama Obina would not be swayed. She began spreading rumors about Adana, calling her a gold digger who was using her beauty to trap Obina. These lies spread through the village, turning many against Adana. The once beloved young woman now found herself the subject of whispers and judgment. Despite the growing tension, Adana and Obina clung to each other. They met in secret, their love burning brighter in the face of opposition. They dreamed of a future together, far from the constraints of their families and the scrutiny of the village. One night, under a sky full of stars, Obina made a bold proposal. "Let's leave this village," he said. "Let's get married and start a new life where no one can tear us apart." Adana hesitated. She loved her mother deeply and worried about leaving her behind, but her love for Obina was strong, and she believed that their union was destined. With her mother's reluctant blessing, they traveled to a neighboring village and had a modest wedding. The ceremony was simple but heartfelt, attended only by a few strangers who wished them well. They exchanged vows under the shade of an ancient baobab tree, promising to stand by each other no matter what life brought their way. When they returned to the village, however, the backlash was swift. Mama Obina disowned her son, cutting him off financially and socially. Obina's father, though more understanding, was powerless to overrule his wife's decision. The villagers, influenced by gossip, treated Adana coldly. Adana and Obina moved into a small house on the outskirts of the village. Life was hard, but their love gave them strength. Adana took up sewing to earn money, while Obina tried to start a small trading business. They worked tirelessly, dreaming of a brighter future. But as the months passed, the weight of their struggles began to take its toll. One day, Adana felt a wave of dizziness while working. She realized she was pregnant. The news brought a renewed sense of hope to their lives. Obina was overjoyed, declaring that their child would be the light that united their families and silenced the rumors. For months, they prepared for the baby's arrival, turning their small home into a haven of love. Adana sewed tiny clothes, and Obina carved a wooden cradle. But their joy was short-lived. In her second trimester, Adana began to feel sharp pains. She rushed to the local midwife, but it was too late. She lost the baby. The loss of their baby devastated Adana and Obina. Adana's grief was unbearable. She spent days in silence, staring at the cradle Obina had lovingly carved. Obina, equally heartbroken, tried to comfort her, but his own sorrow left him unsure of how to console her. The villagers, ever eager for gossip, seized on the tragedy. They whispered that Adana must be cursed, a woman incapable of bearing children. Some even accused her of witchcraft, claiming she had angered the spirits. Mama Obina, upon hearing of the miscarriage, used it as further proof that Adana was unworthy of her son. "She's brought nothing but bad luck," Mama Obina declared. "I warned you, Obina, but you refused to listen. Now look where you are." Obina, though devastated, stood by Adana initially. He assured her that they would try again, that their love would overcome this pain. But as the days turned into weeks, the strain began to show. A few months later, Adana became pregnant again. This time, she and Obina were cautious in their joy. They didn't tell anyone, hoping to avoid the judgment of the villagers. But once again, tragedy struck. Adana lost the baby in her 3rd month. This second loss shattered what little hope they had left. Adana was consumed by guilt, blaming herself for failing to carry their child. Obina, once a loving and devoted husband, began to withdraw. As more miscarriages followed over the years, their relationship deteriorated. Each loss drove a deeper wedge between them. Obina, tired of the grief and the constant whispers, began to believe the villagers' claims that Adana was cursed. "You're bringing shame to this house," he said one night after another miscarriage. His voice was cold, a far cry from the man who had once promised her eternal love. "What did I do to deserve this?" Adana's heart broke with each harsh word, but she refused to give up. She clung to the hope that their love could survive the storm. One day, as Adana sat by the river, weeping over her losses, an elderly man approached her. It was Ejima, the village elder known for his wisdom. He had watched Adana's suffering from afar and decided to intervene. "My child," Ezioma said gently, "your pain is too great to bear alone. Have you sought answers beyond this village?" Adana looked up at him, her eyes filled with tears. "What answers, Papa?" she asked. "The people say I'm cursed. Even Obina believes it now." Ezioma shook his head. "You are not cursed, Adana. I believe there is a reason for your miscarriages, one that the spirits cannot explain. You must go to the city and seek the wisdom of the doctors there." Though skeptical, Adana decided to follow Ezioma's advice. She borrowed money from her mother and traveled to the city, where she underwent a series of tests. The doctors explained to her that she was rhesus incompatible with her husband. Her Rh-negative blood type and Obina's Rh-positive blood type caused her immune system to reject the pregnancies. Adana felt a mix of relief and sorrow. At last, she had an answer. But she knew that convincing Obina would be another battle. When she returned to the village and shared the news with Obina, he dismissed it outright. "What kind of nonsense is this?" he scoffed. "You've spent money we don't have to hear some city doctor's lies?" Adana's heart sank. She had hoped that this revelation would bring them closer, but Obina's refusal to listen only widened the chasm between them. Adana realized she could no longer endure the pain of her marriage. Obina's love had turned to resentment, and his family's disdain had only grown stronger. With a heavy heart, she decided to leave. Her mother supported her decision, encouraging her to reclaim her life. "You have suffered enough, my daughter," she said. "Go and find peace. You deserve it." Adana packed her belongings and left the village, moving to the city where she could start anew. Though the city was intimidating, Adana found solace in its anonymity. No one there knew her story, and for the first time in years, she felt free. She found work as a seamstress, stitching beautiful garments that earned her a modest income. Slowly, she began to rebuild her confidence. Though the scars of her past remained, she discovered a resilience within herself that she hadn't known existed. Adana's determination to survive and thrive became her guiding light, and each passing day brought her closer to healing. In the bustling city, Adana met Dyke, a wealthy businessman who owned a popular textile company. Their paths crossed when she delivered a set of custom-made garments for his company. Dyke, a man of quiet strength and compassion, was impressed by her talent and professionalism. Over time, their professional relationship turned into a friendship. Dyke, a widower with no children, was drawn to Adana's grace and resilience. He noticed the sadness that lingered behind her smile and often encouraged her to share her story. Initially, Adana was hesitant, but eventually, she opened up about her past, her struggles, her losses, and the heartbreak of her marriage to Obina. To her surprise, Dyke didn't judge her. Instead, he admired her courage. "You have been through so much," he said. "Yet here you are, stronger than ever. That is something to be proud of." Their bond deepened, and after a year of friendship, Dyke confessed his feelings for Adana. Though hesitant at first, Adana found herself falling in love again. With Dyke, she felt valued and cherished in a way she hadn't experienced in years. They married in a grand ceremony, surrounded by friends and colleagues who celebrated their union. For the first time in her life, Adana felt truly happy and at peace. Not long after their wedding, Adana discovered she was pregnant. Though joyful, she was also fearful of reliving the pain of her past. She confided in Dyke, who reassured her. "This is a new chapter," he said. "Whatever happens, we will face it together." Under the care of skilled doctors, Adana's pregnancy progressed smoothly. When she gave birth to a healthy baby girl, she wept tears of gratitude. Holding her daughter in her arms, Adana felt as though a piece of her soul had been restored. Her joy didn't end there. Over the next few years, Adana and Dyke welcomed more children, a boy and another girl. Each child was a testament to the love and healing she had found in her new life. Adana became a devoted mother, pouring her love and energy into raising her children. Her days were filled with laughter, warmth, and the sense of fulfillment she had always longed for. Years passed, and Adana's past began to fade into memory. But one day, as she walked through the city market with her children, she saw a familiar figure. It was Obina. He looked nothing like the confident man she had fallen in love with. His clothes were tattered, his face was gaunt, and his eyes were filled with regret. Life had not been kind to him. His business had failed, and his family had turned their backs on him. When Obina recognized Adana, he was overcome with emotion. He approached her hesitantly, his voice trembling. "Adana," he said, I don't know where to start. I'm so sorry for everything. I was wrong, and I see that now." Adana listened quietly as Obina poured out his heart. He admitted that his pride and anger had blinded him, and he begged for her forgiveness. Though moved by his apology, Adana made it clear that she had moved on. "Obina," she said gently, "I have forgiven you, but my life is no longer tied to you. I wish you peace, but I cannot go back to what we were." Obina wept, realizing the depth of what he had lost. Adana, though saddened by his plight, felt a sense of closure. Her heart no longer carried the weight of his betrayal. In the years that followed, Adana became a voice for women who had endured struggles similar to hers. She used her platform to educate others about rhesus incompatibility, a condition that was poorly understood in many communities. She organized workshops and seminars, bringing doctors to the village to raise awareness about pregnancy-related health issues. Adana became a beacon of hope and strength, showing women that their worth was not defined by societal expectations or the judgments of others. One day, as she addressed a group of young women, she shared her story. "I have walked through fire," she said, "but I have come out stronger. My past does not define me. It has shaped me, but it does not hold me. You too can rise above your pain. Value yourselves. Seek knowledge. Never let anyone make you feel less than you are." The audience, moved by her words, applauded with tears in their eyes. Months later, Adana heard through mutual acquaintances that Obina had remarried. His new wife, however, had also suffered multiple miscarriages. The news confirmed what Adana had long suspected: the problem had never been her fault. The revelation brought her a bittersweet sense of vindication. She had always known the truth, but now the world would know it too. Adana continued her work, empowering women to take control of their health and their futures. She knew that her story was just one among many, and she was determined to make a difference. One evening, as the sun set over the city, Adana sat on her porch, surrounded by her children and Dyke. Her laughter filled the air as her youngest daughter clung to her arm, begging for another story. As she gazed at her family, Adana felt a deep sense of gratitude. She had endured unimaginable pain, but she had emerged stronger, wiser, and happier. Life is filled with trials and triumphs, but true strength lies in knowing when to hold on and when to let go. If this story moved you, don't let it end here. Please subscribe to my channel for more powerful tales. Like this video if it touched your heart, share it to inspire others, and leave a comment.